Washington Post and Turner and ESPN. And now she's on our team here at FS1.
Sheesh.
Good morning to you, Rachel.
Good morning,
and
sir.
Welcome in.
I got the mug to prove it. I'm official now.
Okay, here we go again with yet another get me out of here saga swirling around James Harden.
Uh-oh.
Who recently called the GM who loves him, Daryl Morey, a liar. For now, Harden remains a Sixer, but Rachel, please start us off. Can you see James Harden playing for the Sixers this season?
I can. And look,
What?
Daryl Morey is a bit of a wizard when it comes to trades, so he definitely could pull off a last-minute deal, even though they're officially not talking anymore. That being said, if James Harden is still a Sixer when training camp opens, I expect
Send him
James
back to
Harden
the
be
Nets
there
for,
a couple
for Ben.
reasons. First of all, you can't hold out in the NBA. It's not like the NFL. In the NBA, if you hold out, your clock stops on your contract. So you just still have those years ahead of you. The other thing is that we've
That's a
seen
good
this
rule.
movie before, right?
Have we?
James Harden has asked out of Houston. He's asked out of Brooklyn. Both times, he still played for those franchises.
James
after
didn't
he
go and,
asked
like,
out. Did he play well?
miss a
Not
shot
always. Did he
and
give his
then be
full
like,
effort?
"Ah,
Not always. Was he
my ankle."
disruptive to the team? Often. You may remember in Houston,
I'm hurt.
he was supposed
My-
to
oh, my
report for
hamstring.
training camp. Just didn't show up for a week. He was at strip clubs with little baby. Then he was still during the end of COVID. He went to some parties, violated health and safety protocol, had to be, sat down for that. Gee, he was really disappointed about that. Then on and off on the court. But he was there. And I will say now, everyone's familiar with this act. The NBA has already fined him for what they say is not intention to follow through with his contract. So there is a microscope on him, and if he tries that stuff again
That's a fine.
at the beginning of this season,
No intention to
I think
play
there might be
contract.
some
We
action
think he
from the
might not
league, and
play,
certainly
fine.
the Sixers would be in their right
Action
to
as
ask for that.
To what?
Some scrutiny. I mean, look, they've already fined him, right?
Yeah.
So they can do that again.
Fined him
If they feel like he's
$100,000.
not following through on his contract. I mean, he's a contract to play for the Sixers and gives his full effort.
It's like-
now,
it's
if
like
I'm
being
James
fined for your
Harden,
lunch money.
The person standing in the way of me getting traded right now is James Harden. It's the fact that he has this attitude, that he called Daryl Morey a liar twice. The fact that he is now asked to be traded again. If you are going to take on his $36 million salary, do you want a guy who you think by the end of the season might be a malcontent in your locker room? No. So he has got to show people
Are you saying
that he
you
is
do?
not that guy.
Yeah.
Right now, he still is.
Yeah, I would say, I want him in my locker room, even though all the issues that Rachel just brought up. And I'm shaking my head, yes, because I agree with Rachel. He may start the season as a 76er, but he will not end the season as a 76er. If you think about it in professional sports, and Rachel knows this and you do too, Skip, once a professional athlete digs his heels in and say, I want out, guess what happens? Eventually, they get out. It may not happen on their time immediately, like as soon as basketball season starts or before the season or anything like that. It's going to happen because what coaches don't want is they don't want disruption. They don't want to have to go to the presser and have Rachel say, hey, could you have won this game had James
Yeah, I
Harden
mean,
been
especially
there?
if
Well,
they could
James-
just
if
trade
James
Harden
was
now
here,
and
they
get
don't
something.
want- Dude, I'm not trying. Nick Nurse is not trying to start a season.
Because value
Nurse
probably
does
only
not wanna
goes
be
down
asked
from
if
here.
He knows little baby and what they were doing the night before.
Exactly.
Doesn't want to know that.
want to deal
Doesn't
with
want
that.
to be asked that.
So as long as James Harden hold his ground, he will eventually be moved. And you say, well, who would want him? A team in contention, somebody that has a salary cap space, that players inside that locker room know, and veteran. They're like, man, he doesn't bother us. So yeah, I think so. Look, if he's in shape and he's motivated, he's a hell of a player.
That's the key.
If he's in shape and he's motivated, he's a hell of a player. And I understand people look at that and go, well, he's done it many times. Yes, Ben Simmons says, I'm not playing for the Sixers. Eventually, he was moved. I mean, you see what I'm saying? KD, I don't really want to play here. He came, he hung out. They eventually moved him. It happens. Guys, it's just what it is.
As most people know who watch the show, I am an NBA nut, and I am done with James Harden because he's ruining
for Bradley
the
Beal
NBA
straight
for
up.
me. He quit his way out of Houston. It was
I know
ugly
those
to watch
salaries
'cause he
don't
came
match,
in looking like he was 30 pounds heavy, had a
Michelin
pot
man.
belly. He did.
Suns don't have an official
Then
point guard.
He wants to go to Brooklyn.
James
then
Harden
he
just led the
doesn't
league in
wanna be
assists.
Brooklyn. I couldn't blame him because it was all going sideways.
Just like a
So
better
he
Chris
quits
Paul.
his way out of Brooklyn. And now he will quit his way out of Philadelphia. And I get everything you just said about, no, you can't do this because the NBA has rules in place. And he's going to get fined, but he's got so much money and he's made so much money, I don't think it bothers him one bit. If he's forced to show up, he'll barely show up, and he'll be out of shape.
Yeah.
He just turned 34 years of age, and he looks 44 to me. He plays 44. But he is so gifted. He is as supremely gifted a perimeter player as I have ever seen, including, you name them. Kyrie, I know, with the handle. Listen, James Harden, in his MVP year, he was unstoppable from the perimeter. I've never seen slither to the basket like he has. And Sam Presti saw this in ways nobody. I didn't see it at Arizona State like this. And that MVP year was off the charts sensational. Every ref loved him because they sent him to the free throw line more than anybody. And all of a sudden, the refs don't love him anymore because it's hard to love what he has
there was
become.
that one rule
But he's
change
got
that
Joel
really
Embiid,
screwed
had
him
last year and helped him win the MVP.
I couldn't stand Harden in Houston.
That's how gifted this man
I
is.
couldn't
And he
stand the
still
constant
gave you,
free throws.
Just last year, he gives you 21, 6, and 11. Okay, and most people would, to your
like
point,
Embiid,
you'd say,
like-
I'll take that, right? And he's only 34. I'll take it. Remember the Boston series?
Literally like 80%
They
of, not
go to the
80%,
Garden
but
for game one.
60% of his
He
points
hangs
every game are from the free
45
throw
on
line.
the Celtics. He can roll out of bed and score you 45 points.
It's just
And then
hard to
the
watch.
Next game, not so much. He's 12 the next game and 16, and then he comes back in game 4 at home.
That
and
was
he
a clutch
hangs
shot right
42,
there.
and they win another game. They're up 3-2, and then they go to the last 2 games, and he gives you 13 and 9. So the last 2 games, he's 7 of 27 from the floor and 1 of 11 from 3 because that's who he is. You can't trust him in the biggest games.
I mean, James
but
Harden
every once
wasn't
in a
at
while,
Joel
in a
Embiid's
game 1 and a
wedding.
game 4, he will look like the superstar he once was. He's still got that. He will repolish his mystique where all of a sudden the Clippers are saying, yeah, but would we like to put him with Russ in our backcourt, repair him from Oklahoma City? Sure, they would. And I don't know why that fell apart. I don't know if you heard anything or.
Yeah, it's just that the asking price was too high for a guy who's making $36 million and who you don't know what he's going to be like in your locker room. I don't think it's a trust issue with James Harden, at least not for me personally. It's the fact that he is 34. He's not the player that he used to be. And if he can acknowledge that, I think he will continue to have success in the NBA for a while. Key is right. Guys want to play with him when he is motivated, when he is into it. And the fact that, yes, as you point out, in games 6 and 7 of that series against Boston, it's not just that he combined for 22 points over 2 games. He had 10 turnovers. But he still thinks of himself as the guy from that game 1. Or the guy from that game 4. He thinks he should be leading the show. The reason why he wanted out of Philadelphia in the first place is that it's the Joel Embiid show right now. And he wants a different role. He has to realize that
he
he's
going
going
to
to
these
opt in
teams,
to a $35.6 million
Like, why would he go to join Kevin Durant and Kyrie?
That is the choice you are making. He had the choice this summer.
Why would you go
to be
join
a
Joel
free
Embiid?
agent. He could have walked onto any team, written his own ticket. If he had decided, hey, I just want to win, it's time for me to win a title, I'll take a lot less money, I want to be a team player, I want to do what I can.
Like, if you average like 15,
Here we
16
go.
assists just going to Joel Embiid,
Why would he?
You'd be talked about just as much as him.
He opts in for the 30+ million, 36 million.
Yeah, don't forget that $6 million because that'll buy you some things.
I try to stay right, but I'm like, that's too
like
far.
if James Harden averages 20 and
Why would he
12
call him
or
a
20 and
liar?
13,
Did from what you think or know, did Daryl Morey say something to him?
'Cause
that
it's-
made him
it's
believe,
Embiid.
Okay, I'm opted in because this is what's going to take place.
He believed
Embiid
he
could
was
average
opting in
33,
so that he would be
34.
traded, and he felt that Daryl either did not follow through on trading him, did not
And
work
people
hard
would-
enough to
it'd be
trade
like
him,
a
or
1A,
didn't
1B
trade him
show.
no matter what. And Daryl Morey is not beholden to no matter what. He's not beholden to James Harden here. He is charged with what's doing the best for the Sixers, and not just the Sixers, but Joel Embiid. Because, by the way, Joel Embiid, at some point, a couple years from now, is going to have to make the decision, does he want to stay in Philadelphia? And you better believe, if Daryl Morey loses
I wonder if
Joel
him and
Embiid,
Giannis's
he is
contracts
going to be
are
gone too.
coming up at the
So
same
right
time.
now, his biggest concern is, A, getting value
You
for
imagine?
James Harden, having James Harden play if he can't get value for James Harden, and making sure that he
They both
doesn't
go to San
commit more
Antonio.
money to James Harden, which is why he did not re-sign him to a bigger contract over this summer, because he's got to keep that max salary slot open for next summer to help Joel Embiid.
But they went through this in Houston trying to force a guy to play.
Yeah.
So when you try to force somebody to play, he's not going to give his maximum effort. Therefore, you defeat the purpose and you're hurting your entire team. So the best thing for them to do at some point in time is to move him.
I know, but how many times are you going to let him quit his way out of another
can't-
city?
Okay, so Skip, if he stays in Philadelphia, now you got the Philadelphia media and fan base.
Skip needs him to stay in
ticked off
Philadelphia
at the
so he can
organization
keep
and
saying
him.
that Joel
You're
Embiid's
hurting
better than
Joel
Jokic.
Embiid. You're hurting Maxey. You're hurting the team. If a guy is not all in, you cannot afford to put him out on the field or on the court. It's just the reality of it. That is where things are in professional sports. And a guy says, I don't want to be there. Your job as a general manager is to figure out how to get
Trying to think of
maximum
where the best
compensation at some point
spot
in
for Harden
time
would be.
in moving.
Yeah, but the more he sulks, if he does that, if he pulls
Can't go into
the
any
band
young
the way
teams.
he did in Houston,
He's pulling it.
the less people will want to
kinda like
trade
Kyrie.
for him. This
But
is
now
the
Probably don't
you
want
have
him
your
around a
team.
bunch of young
He's
guys.
a partner right now. James Harden
Showing
is
him the
a
way.
part-
You want the
James
young guys
Harden
around
is a
like
partner
LeBron
in
or
his own
something.
demise. He needs to suck it up,
Yep.
come into camp, play his butt off, and then become someone that other people feel they can give up a lot to be traded
I
for.
100% agree with you, Rachel, but he's not going to do that because he doesn't want to be there. You know how it is when you don't want to be somewhere? You come in, you're like, okay, and then as soon as you're gone, you smile, you're good. Think about
Maybe the
think about
Warriors,
what happened in
like
Houston.
Chris
Like
Paul.
you said, he came in looking like a marshmallow, right? I mean, that's what he looked like. And then as soon as he left to Brooklyn, he was like, damn, he lost 30 pounds.
Could be one
fast.
other with Chris Paul.
Because he wanted to be in Brooklyn at the time with Kyrie and KD and company.
But then it gets
And
Chris
remember
Paul out of
the
that
series in
situation he
Brooklyn
doesn't want to
against
be in. He could be
Milwaukee
a
when
starter
it looked like
in
they had
Philly.
went all the way to Game 7 at Brooklyn.
And he's similar with Harden
Hamstring.
passing
He's
the
not
ball.
into it. And look, at this point, to me, his priority is clubbing over winning. It just is. I really, he lives.
I'm not going
to club.
there.
Yeah, I would
I'm
not
not
go
going
there.
there.
I would not go there either.
I'm not going there. Skip.
He needs a strip club and chicken
He wants
wings
to have
5 days a
good
week.
time more
Yes,
than he
no.
wants to win. That's what it's all about for him, and he still makes.
But I don't know that.
36
I don't know
million.
that to be true.
The
Hey,
NBA
he's
needs
got
to
loser
expand to
intangibles.
Vegas,
It's just written all over. Who wants to play?
and
with
James
him?
Harden would be the first player on that
ton of
roster.
players wanna play
I
with
agree
him.
with Key there.
A ton of players.
You know what? Deep
That's
down,
why they're trying to get him in Los Angeles to play for the Clippers.
Okay, then they're all fooling themselves.
And Ty Lue
because
is a
then-
hell of a coach that can get him motivated
and
to
you know
do
what?
that.
I will give you that. If anybody could get what's left out of him, Ty
Absolutely.
Lue could maybe do it. I don't know how Ty Lue's getting what he's gotten out of
Russell
Russ so
Westbrook,
far,
James
because
Harden,
Nobody in the Lakers could get anything out
Kawhi,
of him.
Paul George.
Different role.
It's pretty good.
To me, if you paired
4
up
out of 5.
Russ and James in the backcourt, it would be a disaster because it would be turnover city. Not that it already isn't, because
I don't think
these
it would
are
be
the
that
two
bad.
highest turnover players over the last 5 years in the
Skip
NBA.
just doesn't like Russ
Russ
that
had,
much.
Russ had a nice stretch with the Clippers late in the season.
Yeah, and the Clippers need someone
Yeah.
who can traffic cop the way
Yeah,
James
nice
can.
stretch.
The need is there. It's just a matter of what the asking price
And Russ
is right
wasn't
now.
even there with Kawhi and them. Like,
Yeah.
you got to think big picture, man. You think it's too small.
Aren't you
Big.
glad he's not a Laker?
Who?
Russ.
It didn't work.
I'd
they
say.
tried to make it. It didn't work.
Yeah. LeBron wanted him, AD wanted him, and
It
then they
didn't
wanted
work.
him
That's
gone.
why they
Until
was
they
able to
didn't.
move.
Yeah,
They
till
wanted him
did,
till they didn't.
Right?
It didn't work out.
All right. Come on.
I still don't
Nobody
understand how that didn't work
did.
out.
One of these days, he's going to be more trouble than he's worth. Okay, let's get back to what we started the show with. Giants versus Aaron Rodgers. Are you siding with Aaron or Jihad Ward? Up next with Rachel. and
Aaron all
Keith.
day.